Oh, okay. Holy shit, you guys. We are already on episode 5. What is happening? This is crazy. Um, Welcome back to Raw. I think I'm still doing that. I don't know. Feels right. Yeah, so today I think I'm just going to jump right into it. Like no nostalgic movie examples, no childhood memories, just straight facts. So, okay, sweet. Here we go. Your energy is not an enigma in spaces where you are alone. Wow, okay, big word. Let's zoom out a little bit. Your presence is not a mystery. It's not hard to understand, and when you are rooted in who you are, walking alone isn't hard because you trust yourself. All right. So today I really want to unpack the importance of taking up space and how to confront and heal the parts within ourselves that, maybe we've tried to ignore. Because babe, that's that's the only way we're going to learn how to trust who we are, you know? Here's the thing. The world is a fucked up place with a lot of cruel people, but there's also a lot of really good people too. And the energy that you put out is the energy that you will receive back tenfold. It's all, interconnected. But I gotta say, being yourself is hard as fuck, especially when you're in spaces alone and you don't really have anybody else to cling on to. But it is possible, okay? And I want you all to walk away from this episode knowing that it's okay to take up space and it's okay to walk alone and fucking dance in public and sing on a karaoke night. I don't know. But my goal here today is to make sure that y'all are cool being you all the time. From stranger to friend, you're the same person because you trust yourself. Okay? No code switching in this bitch. We are who we are. Okay, period. Mostly talking to myself because me, still has some healing to do, but that's okay. We can learn together. Makes it a little easier anyway. But yeah, guilty. I am still on this healing journey, and for me, it's been trying to understand why I have this need to cling on to people or places or things, especially in public settings, when I'm with other people. I wish I want to start to be able to just be more comfortable in my own skin and move through a room just holding my own and holding my own space. I don't want to have to feel like I need to cling to somebody else to feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So the truth is that I didn't realize this was actually a deeper form of pain for me that I have been harboring. And with this type of pain, if you don't confront it, if you don't try to understand where it's coming from, it's always going to haunt you. And you'll never be able to fully release it and trust yourself. I recently had an experience that absolutely changed my life. It changed the way I view myself in social situations, and also kind of brought up some insecurities I realized that I have been neglecting to confront. So, yay, love that for myself. Quick story time. I just went on my first solo trip ever as a 25-year-old, okay? Pretty bougie work trip situation. And none of my coworkers had come with me. So this was an opportunity for me to really network by myself and just figure it the fuck out, basically. And I wasn't necessarily scared of the talking to other people part. I think I was more scared of, how am I going to show up and be comfortable in me when I have no one else going with me, But, bitch, after I got back from that trip, I might as well been the next Oprah, okay? Because the way I was holding space for people left and right, you know what I'm saying? Okay, let me not say Oprah because she's a queen and she deserves her flowers. That was a ridiculous comparison, but I'm gonna let it lie. Dead ass though, I got back from that trip and I realized, holy shit, this whole time I've been clinging on to people in spaces because it was comfortable. But when I was forced outside of my comfort zone, I finally had to put my faith in me because, bitch, nobody else was there, And when I did that, I was shocked by the response that I got, I met these really amazing people and kind of developed relationships with them, and hopefully we'll be able to connect with them and collaborate with them in the future. And all that to say is that that experience really made me start thinking, well, fuck, why have I been so attached to this need of having someone else around me to feel safe? Even when I say it out loud, it kind of gives me the ick badly because why did I have to wait around or why do I feel like I have to wait around for someone else to make me feel comfortable in myself? The ass? What is that? So really, we need to start asking ourselves the question, why more? My boy Nate, in a few episodes back, said it best. He was like, I started asking myself, why? Why do I hate myself? And so, how I'm taking this is once we do that, we begin to uncover things about ourselves that need our attention and need our healing. And honestly, it's an act of love, an act of self-love at that. A few days ago, I took this online self-saboteur assessment to figure out how badly my ego has been bruised. And bitch, wow. That was fucking humbling, let me tell you. Scored the highest in the pleaser category. Shocker. And I want you to listen to one of these characteristics because this shit is crazy. Okay, here it is. Has a strong need to be liked by people and attempts to earn it by helping, pleasing, rescuing, or flattering them. Yikes, babe. If that ain't me. But what's interesting about this test is that it gives you all these different descriptions about how you might feel, how you might think, and how you might justify situations to make yourself feel better. Again, humbling. And it also gives you a couple different self-saboteurs that might live within you. But one line that really just slapped the fuck out of me was under the thoughts section, and it said this: to be a good person, I should put the needs of others ahead of my own. Are you kidding? But I realized, holy shit, that is me. I grew up believing that, and this is not necessarily a bad belief, but I think the way that I ran with it was harmful to me. But anyways, I grew up with this belief that I needed to treat others the way I wanted to be treated because that was the only way I was going to get the respect. And like I said, like, yes, that can be a great motto to live by. It was just extremely harmful to me because I overextended my energy to a lot of people who just didn't fucking deserve it. And I still catch myself doing this shit today. You know, cue the fucking pleaser self-saboteur. Like, and one of my best friends, he said something to me not too long ago that just fucking clicked. He was like, you need to stop having the belief that you need to treat everybody how you want to be treated and just treat people the way they want to be treated. Treat people where they're at. Like, that's not your responsibility to carry anymore. It's just not. And I'm like, oh my God, you're fucking right. But I think I've been living in this pleaser mindset for, a long ass time. It was like from most of my childhood until now, into my early adult life. And I really feel like I have buried this connection with my true self because I so desperately seek approval from others. Like, I have literally tied my sense of self-worth to others. And that's just scary to even think about, and like saying it out loud, like officially, is kind of like, damn, let's unpack that, you know? But it's true. Now, all this to say that confronting this pain and understanding where it's coming from has been extremely transformative for me because it's allowed me to justify the why. And yes, like sometimes it takes some life-altering moment, like this trip that I just took to Minnesota, but sometimes it really just starts with asking yourself the question, why more? You know, like, why am I reacting to situations this way? Like, where is that coming from, you know? And it's just really as simple as being aware of your thoughts and emotions, especially in places where you feel uncomfortable or where you feel like you need to cling on to somebody in a public setting, or, you know, just when you feel like you can't be yourself in front of anyone and everyone. I don't know what triggers all of you. You know you best, but that's when we have to pause and ask ourselves why. And confronting your pain and understanding it is one thing, but actively putting in the work to do the healing is another, right? You can't always put back together what has been broken, but you can sit with the pieces that have fallen. Damn, that was a fucking bar. I'm so glad I got that on record. The fuck? Like, but in all seriousness, though, your pain will always be with you. And honestly, that's okay because, it's beautiful. It's a part of what makes you you. And we have to learn how to be able to walk with our pain instead of just ignoring it, leaving it behind, or trying to fight it, like it's a part of us and we have to walk with it. We have to walk with those pieces. Healing for me has been, and honestly will continue to be, a continuous journey. I don't think it's something that ever stops, but at first I didn't know how or what the hell I was doing, like I had to practice it and be uncomfortable with sitting with some of these feelings that I just didn't want to fucking face. And in this process, I've dabbled with therapy, and honestly, I should probably get back into it, like, if I'm being honest. And I've had some therapists who were just fucking terrible, But I've also had some really good ones, too. But this therapy process really opened up my perspective to understanding the relationship I have with not only my present self, but also my past selves. Because I wasn't, who I am now is not even who I was 4 years ago at that. And so when you confront the past versions of yourself and sit with who you were and maybe why you made some of the decisions that you did, and you really start to appreciate who you are, and you understand yourself better, and you then can really embrace every version of yourself. One of the most healing exercises I have ever practiced is journaling with my inner child. I had reference from a book called, literally I think it was just called Inner Child, and I think it was by Tiffany True. I'm not sure really how to pronounce her name, but anyways, she, in this book, she gives you all these different tools to help confront your inner child and like reparent your inner child. And one of the ones that really helped for me was a journal prompt that literally had you write out and speak to your inner child. And then you would listen and wait for a response. And during this process, I literally had a picture of me from when I was like fucking, I don't know, 6, 7, looking like Dora the Explorer, right? And so I'm having that sitting in front of me while I'm doing this exercise. And it was so healing for me because in that moment, I was able to ask my inner child questions and get to know her and understand like why maybe she was feeling this way, and what I found for me personally is that she was just really neglected and didn't feel like people understood her. Like I felt like my inner child, she felt very misunderstood because she was this huge dreamer, huge believer. And then I got to a point where, I did so much of that journaling that I feel like now my inner child is walking with me, and I think she would be really proud of what's happening right now because I'm following my dream and we're walking on this journey together, and, we're just being fearless and being relentlessly ourselves. And that's who she was, that was her. She was unapologetically herself, right? Little Alana was that bitch, okay? And I feel like when we hear about self-help and self-love, in the world of self-help right now, it talks so much about the importance of healing our inner child, which I absolutely agree with, but I feel like what's rarely being talked about is the importance of healing our inner teenager, dog. Like that, and that's a big one for me because this is where I feel like my self-doubt and pleaser mindset really started to manifest, and to be honest, I haven't had enough time to sit with those broken pieces and hold them because I feel like I'm mad at her, dude. Like, just because I feel like she wasn't able to stick up for herself, but I also just haven't given her the time of day to explain why, And I don't know, maybe people couple their inner child with their inner teenager, but I don't. I feel like they're like separated, especially because, and I'm only bringing this up because my dad told me this growing up, but when you're, going through puberty, you're basically like going through a second childhood because of how your brain chemistry is at that time. It's like, and I'm no scientist, okay? So just, do your own research. I could just be talking out my ass, but it's basically your brain is like has the same brain chemistry as what a newborn does or some crazy shit like that. So you're being affected a lot differently than you would be if you were, in that child phase or whatever. But anyway, okay. So I really think I'm going to do that same journal prompt with my inner teenager, because at this point, fuck, I need her to walk with me on this journey too. I can't just leave this bitch behind, while my inner child and I are fucking hand in hand sipping margaritas and fucking singing Kumbaya or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, we gotta do this together, babe. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? And here's the thing. I feel like something happens when you start sitting with the pieces of yourself that you have ignored for years. You learn how to let go of all the bullshit that the outside world threw at you. And you begin to be grateful for those experiences because it's made you into the person you are today. But if you don't take the time to get to know and understand yourself, you're not going to be able to experience that trust within yourself. And then when you do that, you won't be so afraid to go out and be true to who you are, because you've been able to build that bond and build that trust within yourself to show up in the world as you are. And, there's more than just confronting. There's more to it than just confronting and healing our pain. We actually then have to have enough courage to walk into those spaces that since triggered us and trust ourselves, and acknowledge that it's okay to take up space, to say it's okay to be me right now. I know who I am, and I'm walking with the parts of myself that make me me, and I will no longer let the outside world dim my light, bitch. Like, no, we're done doing that. But fuck, this might be one of the hardest things to do, to actually put it into practice. Having the courage to show up exactly as you are is so fucking terrifying, especially when you first start practicing this, because, you're not hiding behind anything. You're not clinging to anybody else. And if someone doesn't like you or treats you with disrespect, you automatically think that that's a direct reflection of yourself because you were just being you. And that's really hard when you first start. Because I don't know about you, but that's how I fucking take it sometimes. And it's like, well, fuck, like, I just tried to be my whole self and people just shit on it. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? And that's also why it's important for us to hold space for other people. But that's a story for another time. This is about us right now. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. When you are authentically yourself, when you put off that energy, and you don't even have to say anything, but as long as you are standing and rooted in your power and in your authenticity, others are going to follow. It makes people feel safe enough to let themselves be seen too. When I was in Minnesota on this work trip, I was trying my best to be authentic in every room I sat in. Whether that was a professional space, a bar, a fucking IHOP, like, I really tried to stand in my power. And then again, like, the response that I got was just so freeing because people felt really comfortable opening up to me and getting to know me, because not only was I open to that experience, but I was brave enough to just show up as me. And people feel that. Like, they really feel that. At the end of the day, we're all just a bunch of fucking empaths out here. and don't even know it because, I mean, seriously, like, it's facts. But I will say, this doesn't happen overnight. You know, like, I still catch myself acting or speaking a certain way based on what room I'm in. And sometimes I don't even realize that I'm doing it because it's just become so second nature to me. But, you know, this takes time. It takes time and it takes practice. We have to practice that, showing up as ourselves, and to start to notice those moments where we, you know, begin to channel our self-saboteur or neglect our past selves, because it's in those moments where we're going to be able to find the most growth. Now, please, I want you guys to understand something. Take up space. Your authenticity, your pain is beautiful. And nobody else in the world is exactly like you. And that's what makes us all so fucking cool, honestly. Like, I would hate to be the same as somebody else. So don't dim your light because you're afraid of how others are going to react. And if they do look at you a little crazy, they just haven't healed their own shit yet. Like, of course, don't be an asshole. You know what I'm saying? We can't have that. But you get what I'm saying. Like, just be you and trust yourself, because I promise you, you will be shocked by the response you get when you just show up as you. You'll be shocked. Having the courage to be yourself is extremely terrifying. And there isn't really a way around that fear. You kind of just have to let yourself be uncomfortable for a little while. And again, no one is really good at anything when they first start. You know, that shit takes time. But I want to leave you all with this. The world is waiting for you to take up space. You just have to be willing to confront your pain, to start asking the question why, to heal the parts of yourself that you've neglected, and let those parts walk with you into your next chapter. They're a part of your story too, babe. And when you trust yourself, you can stand in any room. When you know yourself, you will have the confidence to just be you, no matter where you are, and people will see that and naturally gravitate to that, because at the end of the day, everybody just wants to feel safe and everybody just wants to feel seen. So I really want to challenge you all to at least just take one step. What are you going to do today that will encourage you to start taking up space tomorrow? It can be simple as just buying a journal, just to start, you know? But find what works for you. Maybe it's meditating or drawing. Why did I say it like that? Drawing? I don't know. But you know you best. So figure that shit out, all right? The last thing I want to add here is that you don't need anybody else to take up space. You are the space. Okay? You're the space. Be loud, be proud, and be you. I'm just fucking bars on bars on bars today. Okay. I think I'm done. I gotta go heal my inner teenager, so I'm gonna log off. And if you made it to the end, again, I really appreciate y'all, and I hope you guys tune in next week. Okay, thank you. Bye.